and I call the honourable member for Durack.
Deputy Speaker, I rise to speak on the Treasury Legislation Amendment Small Business and Unfair Contract Terms Bill 2015, which I believe will protect more than 13,000 small businesses in my electorate of Durack. This bill further demonstrates mine and the Abbott government's passion for small business. Since coming into office in September 2013, employment has risen by 2.9%, with some 335,000 new jobs created. As of last month, employment is at a record high of 11,810,700 jobs. This growth is largely due to the government's sound economic management and our policy platform, which is completely unmatched by those sitting opposite. I've met with a number of small business owners who have, of course, been very pleased with the opportunity for the $20,000 tax deduction from this year's budget, and this bill will extend consumer unfair contract term protections available to consumers now to small businesses. This government took more than 20 small business promises as part of our small business policy to the last election, and this is just one of those promises. Small business, as we know, is the economic backbone of not just Durack but of Australia, and as one of the largest employers in Australia, it deserves this protection of the law. This bill extends the consumer unfair contract term protections in the ASIC Act and also the Australian Consumer Law to small business contracts. It also makes provision for exempting small business contracts which are subject to prescribed laws deemed equivalent to the unfair contract term protections. Consumers have been protected from unfair contract terms since 2010. The government and I recognise that we need to reform to ensure small business are protected in line with consumers. Small businesses often face the same vulnerabilities as consumers and should receive protections when offered those take or leave it type of contracts. Extensive consultations have indicated small businesses across a range of industries have concerns with unfair terms. Under these protections, the legislation will apply to small businesses which have less than 20 employees, combined with a transaction value threshold of $100,000 or $250,000 for a contract longer than 12 months. These protections will come into effect 6 months after the bill becomes law. Protection of small business is something that I've been particularly passionate about, Deputy Speaker, throughout my 25-year-odd career in the private sector, and unfair contract terms are a significant concern to small businesses. The bill will allow a court to strike out a term of a small business contract that it considers to be unfair. Once this bill passes, the government will have delivered every small business commitment we took to the last election, proof that this government is good for small business and that we are the best friend that the small business will ever have. Again, Deputy Speaker, this bill illustrates this government's commitment to small business. Deputy Speaker, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, as of June last year, agricultural small businesses make up nearly 30% of small businesses in Durack. This means over 3,600 agricultural small businesses will benefit from having the extension of the consumer unfair contract terms protections to small businesses. This, of course, is music to the ears of our farmers, who have previously welcomed the government's assistance, including the tax deduction available for water infrastructure, accelerating 3-year tax write-downs for fodder assets, and, of course, drought relief that we've announced since coming to office. But, of course, agriculture isn't the only industry that will benefit from this bill once passed, with the more than 2,200 construction small businesses and over 2,000 distribution services small businesses in Durack to also benefit from the legislation. Deputy Speaker, this bill will ensure that small businesses confidently enter into standard contracts for day-to-day activities, where the cost and time of reviewing these contracts, as well as seeking legal advice, can be enormous. As someone who used to advise small businesses, I know only too well how expensive that exercise can be. Under this bill, the government will reduce the incentive to include and enforce unfair terms in small business contracts, providing a more efficient allocation of risk in those contracts and support small business confidence in agreeing contracts. Deputy Speaker, this bill is fresh air to the diverse small business sector within Durack. And to further support small businesses with this measure, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission was provided $1.4 million in the last budget to support the implementation of this bill. And this money will support business transition to the new protections. This will be of great benefit to the hundreds of rural, regional and remote towns in Durack who don't, of course, have the same media coverage of those in the city, so this will be an opportunity to learn about what this bill the assistance this bill will provide to them. Following this, the ACCC will move to a more enforcement-focused approach to dealing with unfair contracts. Deputy Speaker, this bill goes to the heart of the Abbott government's values in ensuring that Australia is the best country to start and grow a small business in the world. Consumers have had these protections since 2010, and the government believes in protecting Australian small businesses equally as consumers as well. The government believes a strong small business sector leads to a strong economy, and only this government can deliver such confidence in our economy. Since coming to office, of course, we know we've axed the carbon tax, we've axed the mining tax, we've cut red tape and reduced the business tax rate, all of which have led to job growth and a more prosperous small business sector. This bill gives small businesses the protection they need and deserve in order to flourish for the future. As a member of an electorate which has over 13,500 small businesses, I'm encouraged by the protection the diverse range of industries will receive under the Treasury legislation amendment, Small Business and Unfair Contract Terms 2015, and I commend the bill to the House.